Welcome to Talk Travel with Heather Tate, North Mississippi's podcast for savvy travelers. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is a weekly podcast that airs every Monday on the Shark 102.3 FM radio station based in Ripley, Mississippi, and is then released as a podcast. Travel advisor and travel enthusiast Heather Tate of Whimsical Destinations gives listeners expert travel tips curated through the years of personal and professional experience. By clicking subscribe, you'll have a new travel tip to add to your collection delivered to your podcast library every Monday. Talk Travel with Heather Tate is brought to you by Sun Bear Studio. Sun Bear Studio is a boutique recording studio in the heart of Ripley, Mississippi. When you record with us at Sun Bear Studio, we can mix, master, register, and publish your music, your podcast, or your family story. Email us when you're ready at sunbear@jc.media.
This program was recorded at Sun Bear Studio in Ripley, Mississippi.
Good morning, Northeast Mississippi travelers. This is Heather with Talk Travel with Heather Tate, and I am so excited to share my adventures and tried and true tips with you, whether you are also a seasoned traveler, a hopeful traveler, or currently an armchair traveler, meaning you're going to follow along with us from home for now. This is our 203rd episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. And last week, I shared with you all about our adventure that we're looking forward to for next May for our 20th anniversary, which is our first ever trip to Alaska. We're taking an Alaskan cruise, and we have a group joining us. This week, I'm going to backtrack a little bit and share with you our 19th anniversary trip, which was a lot closer to home. I'm always asked, what are some great weekend adventures? And so this is one where I'm going to tell you about that is going to be fantastic for if you have, 2 or 3 days. I would say at least 3 days, 3 nights, that it would be a fantastic trip. And it is called Down the Rabbit Hole in Blue Ridge. So we went for our 20th anniversary trip. Our 19th anniversary trip, we went to and spent 3 nights in Blue Ridge, Georgia. Now, I have been to Georgia in the mountains before, Helen, Georgia, and Dahlonega, Georgia. So I have been in that area, but I have never been to Blue Ridge before. We have friends that have been, said it's one of their favorite places ever. And now, having gone for the first time, I can understand why. We had the most relaxing time together. We just missed the Memorial Weekend crowds because we came home that Friday of Memorial Day weekend. So there was no traffic. The restaurants we went to, we didn't even have to have a reservation at most of them. Now, it's still advised, some depending on which restaurant that you're going to for dinner. But we just made reservations a lot of the time, day of. So if you're traveling a busier time, the mountains, like if you're going this summer, definitely fall. It seemed like October is a really big month in the mountains. So I'd make sure I'd have reservations then. But we had no problem at all. It was a very, laid-back week. We stayed in an Airbnb that I had been watching for a while, and it is called the Mad Hatter Cottage, and it's in Mineral Bluff, Georgia, which is right outside of Blue Ridge. We're talking like 5-10 minutes from downtown Blue Ridge. So if you know me, you know I love staying in interesting places. Like the more whimsical, the better. Well, this is probably the most whimsical place we have ever stayed. And if you've seen our pictures or videos on our Facebook group, Heather and Logan Tate Whimsical Destinations, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. This is described as dark whimsical. Think Alice in Wonderland, but from the Mad Hatter's perspective. That's what this beautiful little cottage is. It's adults only. It does have 2 bedrooms, so it can sleep up to 4 adults. So it would be great for a girls' trip if you had a girls' trip of 4. But here's why I don't know if it would be the best fit for 2 couples, because we had the whole place to ourselves. Because there are 2 bathrooms, but it's a 1.5 bath. So it's only 1 full bathroom, and that is like down the hall, so it's shared. It's not off of either one of the bedrooms. So that would be convenient. Everyone can access it. But that's why I feel like it would be best for a girls' trip if you're going to have 4 people. Otherwise, it was amazing for an anniversary trip or a special occasion, a birthday trip. It had a beautiful setting. The screened-in porch, phenomenal. It had like this wisteria hanging down from it. There was a a porch bed where we could watch movies at night. So it was raining. We had a big outdoor movie projector. We had a screen that you could set up and watch movies. It was on the bend of a little river. And to me, that was one of the best parts about it, because you could open up the windows, have the screens, and hear the river just floating by. So it's so relaxing. We did get some rain that week. It wasn't as much as we thought it was going to be. It was scheduled to be like a rain out. It rained a lot here that week in May, and it rained a lot there. But we got really lucky that most of the time it was in the evenings or overnight that it rained. It didn't rain all day, every day. So the place from top to bottom was decked out as if you were in Wonderland. And there was a giant chess set outside. There was this beautiful retaining wall that was a garden, like basically like a mountain garden on the retaining wall with ferns and some solar lights and just little magical touches everywhere you looked, butterflies and just things that made you think like, okay, this is what Wonderland really would look like from adults' perspective. Now, again, it is adults only. They said some of the theming is not child appropriate, is more adult appropriate. And also it would be a liability to have children there because it was right on the river, lots of sharp edges. There was a hot tub, a covered hot tub, like with a little patio. There's an outdoor fireplace with Adirondack chairs. There's steps leading down to the river, so you could swim if you wanted to. I am not a swim in a river kind of person. I am a hot tub enjoyer, so we enjoyed the hot tub and enjoyed looking at the river. But you can do fly fishing there. We saw people fly fishing. It was very private where we were, but we were not the only house on the street. We were at the end of the road, and it really did feel like we had gone into someone's private driveway when we were on the road because it was this long, winding gravel road. But there are other cabins leading up to it. So, we're not completely alone. There might be people fishing on the river, which we saw just once. But it was like we spent a lot of time in the cabin. We did a puzzle one afternoon when it was raining. We watched the movies. We picked up to-go pizza one night that we could eat on the screened-in porch. So we really enjoyed where we were staying. Now, did we do some things out and about in the town? Yes, we did. The big thing I wanted to do was the rail car on Blue Ridge Scenic Railway. About 3 years ago, they started this so imagine if you're in open air, it's kind of like bikes, but not. It is a rail car. So it's not the kind like you'd stand and pump with. These are ones that you pedal like with your feet, like two bicycles put together in a cart and you're pedaling. And there's 4 people per cart, and I think it's 26 total that were all lined up, and you're in your own little cart of 4, so you could be a group of 4, or if you were twos, then you were paired with another 2. But here's a good thing. You were not pedaling for your life, even though it's like 11 miles and you're on the scenic railroad and you're pedaling, and, you've got some mountains in the distance a little bit, and, you're in the forest, you're near the Appalachian Trail. It's just beautiful. We saw wild turkeys. They said there's deer that are often jumping right in front of you in the tracks. And so it's absolutely beautiful. A little covered bridge. You're not pedaling for your life because they have motors. And I didn't know this when I signed us up. Now, Logan at first did not know what to think of this. I just told him we were doing it, and I was able to snag the last 2 spots for the time we were going. They told us that if you're wanting to go in the fall, those start booking up in June. So this month they're going to be booking up. So you want to make sure if that's something you want to do, you go ahead and book that now. You can't book it the week of in October like we were able to do in May. So they said it really makes a difference when. And we absolutely loved it. Logan even gives his stamp of approval. You could pedal if you wanted. If you didn't pedal, you just kept your feet resting on it, then it's okay because, you were driving it as well with a button. And so you had a motor. So this is, they said from ages 4 to 90 could enjoy it. So it's family friendly. You're not, as long as you are, comfortable with walking, you could do this. and it would not be a problem. So great excursion, one of the top excursions in the area, and it was definitely worth it. Another day, we had a beautiful, sunshiny day, and it was going to be our day that we were driving through the mountains. And again, no traffic. I love the Smoky Mountains. I love the Smoky Mountains. It's one of our favorite places. So Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, Cades Cove, we love that. But if you've been, especially recently, it is so crowded. I mean, bumper to bumper. You can be stuck in traffic for hours there, depending on, the holiday weekend. So that's what we kept coming back to time and time again. When we were driving in the mountains here, there's nobody. We hardly passed anyone at this point. So I told Logan I wanted to go have coffee at this place called Jumping Goat Coffee Roasters. When you search travel as much as I do, it can be very dangerous because you're constantly seeing amazing places pop up that you want to go to. So when I saw this place with a view of Highland cows and mountains, I didn't even know if they had real jumping goats or what the deal was with the name with the jumping goat, but I just wanted to go. And then I found out, okay, it is in the mountains in Georgia, but it's an hour and 20 minutes away from our cabin. It's a beautiful day. Logan said he was up for a drive. So we drove 2 hours and 40 minutes round trip to have this view with our coffee. And I would say it was worth it because we just made a big loop. We weren't going just for coffee, but I joked that, we drove that far for coffee. It was great, but the views on the way there and the way back, really made it worth it. So that was like our day in the mountains drive. And on the way back, we stopped at Brasstown Bald, which is the tallest mountain in Georgia. Think Klingman's Dome, because it has like the tower like in Klingman's Dome a little bit, but you don't have to hike up it. So you have a shuttle that drops you right off at the top, and there's a little movie about it. There's a visitor center. The views, you can see 4 states, so absolutely gorgeous. And I know it's beautiful, year-round, but I think it would be really stunning in the fall. But we had a great time. The mountain laurels and rhododendron were still blooming, so we walked down the mountain to our car in the parking lot. And that was a great little walk. So we didn't walk up. We took the shuttle up and we walked down. So I loved that. And it was, we didn't even break a sweat on the way down. We had some fantastic meals that I'm going to share with you really quickly, just so you have an idea. If you're like, where should I eat? Some of our favorites. We went to Ferraro's Kitchen in Blue Ridge. The chef is from Venice. He has had cooking school, and he has a restaurant, award-winning restaurant in Miami, had a home in Blue Ridge, decided he wanted to open up a branch of his restaurant there. It was amazing. It was like eating in Italy good. And that's where we ate on our anniversary. We had the tableside giant cheese wheel where they, set it on fire and they're carving it out and they're cooking your pasta, which is cacio e pepe. So cheese and pepper. Super simple. And I've heard this before. It's a super simple dish. I've never actually had it when I've been in Italy 3 times, but I've had it in Georgia. And it is literally a taste of Italy in Georgia. One of the best things I've ever had in my life. And it's cooked tableside right in this giant cheese wheel that comes from Tuscany, right? Like they're not just getting it down the road. It comes from Tuscany. So it is Italy coming to us in Georgia. So when I say this is worth the drive in and of itself, if you've never been to Blue Ridge, Georgia, and you've got to put that on your list. Other great places, I love brunch. So for breakfast, we went to Bigfoot Biscuit. We also went to a new restaurant called The Pullman, where, again, they have the Blue Ridge Scenic Railroad there. So Blue Ridge Scenic Railway. So if you do not want to pedal on the rail cars, you can take a scenic train ride through the mountains the other direction. And, that's another day trip that you can do. So they have the Pullman, which is a fantastic brunch spot. And it feels like, a nod to the classic train experience, like the height of, romance travel by train. So it was beautiful. We also went to a restaurant called Harvest on Main, which is local flavors, farm to table, lots of vegetables and sides, just really good food. Everywhere we ate, we enjoyed. So I love going new places and exploring new things there, the activities, and eating the delicious local foods. But one last thing I have to mention, and that's Mercer Orchards. Now, the downtown in Blue Ridge is beautiful. We wanted to go to the bookshop, Copper Fox Books. We went to Mountain Mama's Coffee, also really great. Very fun vibes, very trendy. Like you just felt like you were cool walking in there kind of vibes. And they had great coffee too. And they also have waffles, which we didn't have waffles because we were going to the orchard that morning. So we almost missed it. And if we had left Blue Ridge without going to Mercer Orchards, I would have been disappointed. Not only is the view there right off the road stunning, but this is like a whole operation. Like you can go and you can pick berries. They had strawberries that you could pick then. You can pick apples when they're in season. So you can have like fun for the whole family. But if you're going and you're not even picking anything, they have this incredible bakery, apple cider donuts. We had pies. We had strawberry, blackberry, peach, apple, like melt in your mouth, delicious pies. We had apple fritters. Like I am dreaming of these apple fritters right now. That's what we had for breakfast with our Mountain Mama coffee. And it's a full, like, farmer's market. And then there's homemade jams and jellies and pepper jellies and apple butter. And there was a little lady slicing up different fruits that you could sample, not only from their orchard, but from neighboring orchards. Like if they didn't have, them, like if it wasn't in season there for the apples or peaches, they had their friends, they said, down the road in South Carolina that had some already ready. Then we were sampling those. We bought a big bag of probably the best apples I have ever had. They're super crisp. And we were like, okay, these are not just your regular apples. These were super special. So we brought all that home to the boys. They were excited because they got to share with those with us. And we're like, this is somewhere we will go back. And we would have missed it if we not stopped. We had some recommendations that, make sure you check out the orchards. We're like, okay, I'm sure it'll be good, but is it going to be like wow factor? And it was a wow factor. So to me, I have been sleeping on Blue Ridge, Georgia. And now I see why so many people who have gone, and they're probably going to be like, why are you telling our secret? I understand why so many people who have gone love it and go back year after year, because it may have been my first time to Blue Ridge, but it will not be my last. That's all the time we have for this week's episode of Talk Travel with Heather Tate. Wherever you're going, whatever you're doing this week, life is a great adventure, but it is what you make it. Take the trip, make those memories. You won't regret it.
This show is made possible by JC Media, LLC in Ripley, Mississippi. JC Media owns the Shark 102.3 Classic Rock FM radio station where the show is hosted. Subscribe to our podcast on your favorite app or stream episodes online at shark1023.com/podcast. We also have an email in which you can share your feedback. That email is theshark1023@gmail.com.